It's that glorious time of year again, when the sweltering summer gives way to fall and football season. But the crisp fall air isn't upon us yet. As preseason practices begin and football players start getting into shape, the physical dangers of heat and humidity must be prepared for to enable the prevention of serious negative consequences. Welcome to USA Football's Heat Emergency Preparedness video. Statistics show that most early season deaths occur in the first 4 days of practice. Days 1 and 2 are the most dangerous, as most players will not report to camp or practice physiologically prepared for the environmental stresses, preseason conditioning, and football uniforms that will tax their bodies. 2 weeks before practice, begin a daily outdoor exercise regimen that includes 15 to 20 minutes of exercise in the early morning or late evening. Maintain a steady sweat throughout the activity, and as the days pass, add minutes to the activity's duration. Gradually schedule your workouts closer to your head coach's normal practice times. Exercise in groups for safety, and stop exercising if you start to feel bad.
Hi, I'm Sam Ramsden, athletic trainer for the Seattle Seahawks. It's possible that a player may need to sit out for the remainder of practice, and that's okay, because players' safety comes first. On a hot day, a football uniform can increase the risk of heat-related illness by doubling or tripling the player's heat insulation factor.
The irony in preseason football heat preparedness can be found in the form of the game's protective equipment. While helmets and pads protect players during the regular season, if not introduced gradually, they can put the player at risk during the preseason.
Now that we know how to best avoid heat illness and that it's okay for players to put pride aside, let's go over the signs and symptoms of dehydration and heat stroke.
Dehydration is defined as a loss of body water. A football player with below normal levels of body water is more susceptible to a rise in body temperature, muscle cramps, and premature fatigue.
Research shows that a player's thirst mechanism won't kick in until he's lost about 2% of his body weight in sweat. For example, a player who weighs 200 pounds may lose 4 pounds before he develops a pressing thirst. Quenching thirst isn't enough. This will not account for 25 to 50% of the fluids lost. In simple terms, don't wait to hydrate. Players should replace fluids and electrolytes every 15 to 20 minutes.
Water is acceptable, but sports drinks are preferred for several reasons. The electrolytes and flavor in sports drinks stimulate thirst and encourage drinking. They contain sodium, which promotes fluid retention and decreases the risk of severe muscle cramps. And they have carbohydrates that provide energy to active muscle and improve the player's ability to work longer and harder. Daily weight loss is primarily a loss of fluid, not fat. If a player weighs in for practice at 155 pounds and weighs out at 150 pounds, he needs to replace enough fluids between practices to ensure he's back near his baseline weight. Without daily checks on weight and fluid loss, the dehydration factor will increase over time and become dangerous for the player.
A high school and youth football player can check if they're dehydrated by monitoring their urine. If the player's urine is dark in color, like apple juice, he is most likely dehydrated. If his urine is light in color, like lemonade, they are adequately hydrated. Parents and guardians should inquire about their young player's urine color, as it's a great indicator of hydration level. Definitely a question worth asking.
Heat stroke is a form of hyperthermia, an elevated body temperature. If precautions and emergency preparations aren't made, players who exert themselves in extreme heat and humidity run the risk of abnormally elevated body temperatures. Improper maintenance of body hydration exacerbates the risks. Unlike the less severe forms of hyperthermia, heat cramps, and heat exhaustion, heat stroke is a medical emergency that can be fatal if not properly treated.
Be familiar with the signs and symptoms of heat stroke, which can develop rapidly and without warning. They can include nausea, vomiting, fatigue, weakness, headache, muscle cramps, muscle aches, and dizziness. Other signs and symptoms to check for include elevating body temperature, absence of sweating with flushed skin, rapid pulse, breathing difficulty, strange behavior, hallucinations, confusion, agitation, disorientation, seizure, and coma.
Heat stroke can result in permanent brain damage and even death, so make sure you can recognize the signs and symptoms. This concludes USA Football's Heat Emergency Preparedness video. For more information and safety resources, visit usafootball.com.